Welcome everyone to A Hero's Escape, the channel for all things Heroscape. This is my third video at this point, and I've been paying attention to some suggestions from the viewers, and one of them that was given to me was to do a tier list for different units that come from different sets. I know a lot of other people have been doing this lately, with everything, not just Heroscape of course, but with Heroscape as well. For this, however, I am going to divide these videos up by master set or expansion set. So if this one performs well, I'm likely to do more in the future. But for the very first video here, I am going over the first ever master set, Rise of the Valkyrie, which is actually when I first got into Heroscape myself, back when this first set came out, all the way back in 2004, I believe. And we're going to go through some of these OG Heroscape units, rank them in the tier list, and if this video performs well and you guys want more, we'll move on to wave 1 expansions, etc. So that being said, that means I'm not going to have Sergeant Drake Alexander original compared to current new Sergeant Drake Alexander on the tier list. I'm only comparing by set. I think this makes it a little easier as well because there's some different power levels between the sets too. So yeah, let's begin. So right off the bat here, of course, on the tier list we have S tier, which is, as I think is standard practice, S tier is the top tier. Also, I don't know why all these are highlighted. I don't know how to fix that. This is kind of a weird thing I'm using to do this, but hey, we'll make it work. There we go. S tier, top tier. A, B, C, pretty straightforward. F tier is the worst. So we'll just go ahead and get started in no particular order, but just the way I have them laid out here with Tarn Viking warriors. And I know it's going to be a little difficult to see. Some of these pictures that I downloaded are kind of blurry, so my apologies for that. But yes, this is our first unit, the Tarn Viking warriors. Anyway, you can see it, no big deal. So here's your stats. 4 units on the card. We got a move of 4, range 1, attack 3, and defense 4. 4 defense, I feel like is pretty good for a squad card. That's probably its best trait so far out of just the base stats. Of course, 1 life is not that good, but having the 4 defense might help with that. And then we have Berserker Charge, which is a pretty cool ability, which is after moving and before attacking, roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 15 or higher, you may move all Tarn Viking warriors again. So that's pretty cool because every single turn you can just keep trying to do that, so long as it's before attacking. Only problem is you have to get 15 or higher. So pretty cool though, pretty good attack, pretty good ability. The attack of 3, I'm trying to think. I feel like that's sufficient enough that this is a solid enough army. I'll probably put it in B tier to start us off. So we got Tarn Viking warriors in B tier. Hey guys, thanks for watching my videos and for all the support and help on this channel. I've got some quick stuff to throw out real quick before I continue the video. So first off, I did a how to play Heroscape video, and I just want to clarify that I am sort of newer to YouTube. I'm obviously new with this channel, but making these videos and stuff I'm still learning. So I know my delivery might not be the best and different things like that. In addition to that, I got a lot of the rules sort of wrong in that video. So there's a few clarifications I wouldn't mind just clarifying right here. But if I do a future rules video down the road, then I will definitely clarify those in that video. So let's check this out real quick. Here's what I got from notes from you guys about those rules. Somebody filled me in with a lot of specific rules here. The road tiles, I had made it so that when a figure goes onto a road tile, it adds 3 spaces to their movement. The only thing wrong about this is that it only works if they start and end their movement on the road tile. Then you get an additional 3 spaces. This is from Prawns Gaming 5083. Thank you very much for correcting me in these comments. I also, double space figures have, this is what he says about double space figure movement. The move with their front foot, either side, just pick one every time you move, and the back foot follows behind them. Okay. So the Grok Rider here would have spent 2 movement in order to move to the 2 spaces next to him. I'm still a little confused about that, so Prawns Gaming, if you can further clarify for me, maybe in a comment on this video, I would appreciate that. It's especially a question because there's a new figure that's come out that I just got, which is he stands like this on the base rather than like this long ways. He's like this, so I'm like, does he just walk sideways or does he stagger step? Like, anyway, we'll keep going. He had a comment about Raelin. I must have referred to Raelin as a he on accident. Just saying, you know, I didn't mean it that way. I just meant, I don't know. I don't even know what I said, but I was surprised when he pointed out that was Raelin, because Raelin, as we see here, is Jondar, and the lore is not super like prevalent or accessible, so I don't know what happened to make her go to Utgar. But here's another one. Me Burks is able to move through those. Okay, so you can move through friendly figures. A figure can move through friendly figures, but not opponents' figures. And you cannot move through your own figures if they're engaged. All right. Here is one more about, let's see. If you're attacking a figure with a height of 5, you need to be 15 levels higher than their base to get 2 dice for a height advantage. All of these moves would actually cost 1. Okay, so let's do 4 movement. Moving up 3 spaces would cost you 4 movement, not 3. Because each of the 3 levels count as 1 movement, and the top space you move onto counts as another one. I've never done that right when I've played this, so I appreciate that correction. The bears are large figures, and he doesn't think the large figures can use ladders, but he's not sure about that, he says. And then here's one about falling. Falling is another case where it depends on how tall they are. You only roll to see if you take damage when you fall from your height or higher. You're right. I'm right about getting an additional die for every 10 levels, but once it's 20 levels higher than the figure's height, you roll the d20 and you die unless you get a 19 or 20. So thank you very much, Prawns Gaming, for that corrections there. And that's the rules corrections. Alright, so these videos are not monetized, so I would like to do just a quick little ad for my fantasy novel that I recently wrote and published. It is available on Amazon in hardcover. It is $30 for the hardcover. I know it's a little expensive, but it's kind of just the industry standard and enough for me to get a little bit of royalty money. Paperback is $20, but you can actually get it for free if you have Kindle Unlimited as ebook, or it's $5 for the ebook. I've sold a decent amount of these so far and have gotten some really good feedback from them. People seem to like the story quite a bit. It's about Aldenor, a devoted priest of the Covenant of Renewal, has dedicated his life to serving his god, Saranath, by ministering to the people of Ardania. But the Covenant is faltering, its numbers dwindling as faith in Saranath fades. When a young woman from Aldenor's congregation, Anna Winlith, storms out of the chapel claiming that the Covenant worships a false god, Aldenor is sent to retrieve her before she can further spread her blasphemous views. What begins as a mission to restore order quickly turns into a journey of discovery and doubt. As Aldenor ventures beyond his village, he makes unlikely allies and uncovers secrets about the Covenant and the god they worship. Follow Aldenor through an action-packed quest as he wrestles with the truths that conflict with his beliefs. So, if you're a fan of Heroscape or any other fantasy sort of game, Magic the Gathering, or, what have you, this is probably a great book for you. I'm very proud of it, and I'm working on a second book right now as well. So, if you are interested in finding a new book to read, please go and check that out on Amazon.com, and we'll get back to the video. Next up, I forgot I have to make a mention about cool factor for all of these. So these days, I think these guys have a little bit more of a cool factor than they did back then because, it's a classic. Everyone's going to see these guys, and if they knew Heroscape back in the day, then they know what they are. And, Vikings have had a surge of popularity in the last decade as well. But, alas, the figures are not that cool looking in my opinion. They're okay, but nothing amazing. B tier, for sure. I think that's a safe bet on those, especially because the next one up is Mimring. Oh yes, and you can see this one is a lot more blurry, but I will read through it and explain. But 5 life, that's big right off the bat. Move of 6, range 1, attack 4, defense 3. He's got fire line special attack. This is pretty powerful. It's attack 4. Choose 8 spaces in a straight line from Mimring. All figures on those spaces who are in line of sight are affected for Mimring's Fireline special attack. Roll 4 dice once for all affected figures. Affected figures roll defense dice separately. So that's pretty good. I mean, 8 spaces is a long line. If you've got, a big battle and you've got several units within that line of sight, I mean, there you go. That's pretty powerful. Also, the defense is not great, but he has a lot of life. It's not bad though. I mean, I feel like anything 3 or above is pretty good. So yeah. Oh, and of course he has flying, which we all know what that does. But since this is the first ever set and the first card that breaks it down, I'll just explain it. When counting spaces for Mimring's movement, ignore elevations. Mimring may fly over water without stopping, pass over figures without becoming engaged, and fly over obstacles such as ruins. When Mimring starts to fly, if he is engaged, he will take any leaving engagement attacks. So, good card. And as far as the cool factor of the figure, it's a dragon. I mean, what more can you ask? This is like your standard Dungeons and Dragons bronze dragon looking dude. I would say the only thing about it is it's not a huge figure. I mean, it says huge 9, but there have since been much bigger figures made, including the dragon from the new master set, as well as that one white dragon that's kind of standing like this that was out. That was a pretty big one too. So I mean, he's not huge by any means, but definitely cool. I think I'll put him in A because an attack of 4 along with that really powerful special attack is pretty good, I gotta say. He's definitely better than the Viking warriors. In fact, as I get through these, I wouldn't be surprised if I actually drop the Viking warriors to C tier, because I don't know if they're worthy of being just under Mimring, but we'll see. Now we have the Krav Maga agents, which I know everyone says that's so funny, and it's Krav Maga. That's funny. But everyone says it differently and in some weird way. But the actual martial art is Krav Maga. So here they are. They have 1 life each, a move of 6 each, a range of 7, attack 3, defense 3. Pretty okay. And they have range. I mean, that's powerful in and of itself. So, I mean, I would definitely say they're not bad. Their stealth dodge does when a Krav Maga agent rolls defense dice against an attacking figure who is not adjacent. 1 shield will block all damage. That's very powerful. If you got a ranged figure shooting at these guys, I mean, they're martial arts masters. They're just gonna block every bullet, every arrow like it's nothing. That's pretty good. I gotta say, especially with them having range on top of that, they can keep a distance from enemies that are attacking them with range. Try to stay away from melee range so they can just keep picking people off with their own range. And therefore, you know, that's pretty good. Like, I gotta say, B tier, I think I like them better than the Vikings, honestly. I might move the Vikings down, but we'll worry about that in a minute. The next one is their leader himself, Wesley Snipes, Agent Carr. Agent Carr has 4 life, movement 5, range 6, attack 2, pretty low, defense 4. His abilities are Ghost Walk. He can move through all figures, which I feel like that could be pretty powerful if you're in, you know, a cluttered situation. Maybe you're in like the fortress and there's a lot of guys in there or something. That could be pretty powerful to be able to move through all of them. He also has Sword of Reckoning 4, which is if Agent Carr is attacking an adjacent figure, add 4 dice to his attack. Now that's broken. An attack of 6 is insane with Ghost Walk and a movement of 5. He can just slice people up. His pistol, not that strong, but the sword is good. And Disengage. Agent Carr is never attacked when leaving an engagement. That's also really good, especially with that Ghost Walk. That's almost like some D&D action with some Misty Step type of situation going on. Really good. I'm sure that's where they got the idea. And as far as that sword goes, I think if I remember right, I know Drake Alexander got the sword from Jondar, but I think that Agent Carr also got a sword from one of the Valkyrie generals, if I'm not mistaken. So it almost feels like he's a... You know, he could be kind of like a rival to Sergeant Drake Alexander. I think that's powerful enough to be A tier. That sword does a lot of damage, and he can just move along like it's nothing, like so easily. So we're gonna stick him there, and then the next one is Sergeant Drake Alexander holding the Sword of Jondar, the awesome katana. I forgot to be mentioning the badass factor of these figures, but Krav Maga agents, you know, they're just some secret agents. Nothing that super cool. But Agent Carr, on the other hand, badass to 100. I mean, look at this dude's visor sunglasses thing that he wears. Come on. That is top tier badass. Certainly deserves a spot in A tier. In fact, when I was a kid and I had this master set, he was always my favorite character, for sure. So, super badass. Sergeant Drake Alexander is also badass, except this first figure from the first set always looked a little wonky. His face always looked a little weird. The pose, I don't know. He's so much cooler in the Swarm of the Marro Master set. So that's going to knock him down some points. But let's get to reading the card. He's got 5 life, moves 5, range of 1, attack of 6. These swords are powerful. That is so much attack. Defense of 3. Also, we're not paying attention to we haven't been paying attention to the point values, but that's definitely something to mention. The fact that Sergeant Drake Alexander is only 110 points, and Agent Carr over here is only 100 points. That's broken. In fact, should he be S tier? There's an argument for that, because that 100 points for that is insane. But I also want to specify, I have no experience with the competitive Heroscape community. I have never done any tournaments, nothing like that. So I have no idea what the meta looks like or how people build armies generally. I can't speak to that. All I can speak to is what I can see based on what I'm looking at. I'm not taking into account anything from other sets, just the one that we're looking at the time. Sergeant Drake Alexander being only 110 points is pretty crazy with 6 attack. He's got Thorian speed, which means opponents' figures must be adjacent to him to attack him with a normal attack. If you're not using a special attack and you're far away, you are not attacking Sergeant Drake Alexander. Krav Maga agents, Syvarris, nah, they ain't doing it. So that's good. Also, the grapple gun 25, instead of Sergeant Drake Alexander's normal move, he may move only 1 space. This space may be up to 25 levels higher when using the grapple gun. All engagement rules still apply. That's obviously very good if you have a map with a lot of elevation to it, because, you know, someone else without flying, they might have to go around. They might have to go the long way. He can just get right up there. But after looking at him, I feel like he's A tier, and I feel like Agent Carr has got to be our first S tier. So we're going to do that. And then now we have the Samurais. This is the Isumi Samurai. They each have 1 life, 3 figures on the card, just like the Krav Maga agents with only 3 figures. They move 6 spaces. They have a range of 1, an attack of 2, and a defense of 5. That defense is very strong for such a just a common squad card. Oh, sorry. Unique squad, actually. But that defense is very strong. That earns them some points. But their attack is really low, but they do have the ability Counter Strike. When rolling defense dice against a normal attack from an adjacent attacking figure, all excess shields count as unblockable hits on the attacking figure. Wow. This power does not work against other samurai. That's really good, especially considering they have 5 defense. They're definitely B tier, but I almost like them enough to be A tier. It makes me consider dropping the agents, if I'm being honest. Or the Vikings, actually. I think the Vikings might be worse than the agents. Yeah, you know what? The Vikings are going to C tier for sure. We gotta fix that. But let's go ahead and move on to Ne-Gok-Sa, the Marro warlord himself. Now I gotta say, when I was a kid, I saw this guy and I was like, man, that guy's so cool. Also, just gotta point out, this guy's only 90 points. Now, on top of that, I know that there are some cases where some of these figures now in different tournaments are valued at a higher point scale, but we're not thinking about that for this video. I used to think he was very cool, but upon reading his card as I've gotten older, I'm not so sure. He has a life of 5, move 5, range 1. His attack is only 3, but he does have a defense of 6, which is really, really good defense. But his special ability, Mind Shackle 20, in order for this to work, you have to roll a 20. You have to get a nat 20 or this fails. After moving and before attacking, you may choose any unique figure adjacent to Ne-Gok-Sa. They have to be a unique figure. So if it's a common squad, this isn't even going to work on them. And you have to get a 20 anyway. So it's not that good. Anyway, roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 20, take control of the chosen figure and that figure's army card. You now control that army card and all figures on it. Remove any... Oh, well, that's cool. Like, if you used it on the samurai and he got one of them, he could get all of them. Remove any order markers on this card. If Ne-Gok-Sa is destroyed, you retain control of any previously mind-shackled army cards. It's pretty powerful. I can see why it's such a difficult thing to pull off, but you still have to roll 20. And I mean, it just seems like a hassle more than anything, if I'm being honest, to have to do that every turn. He's gonna go B tier for the high defense and because he is a badass character. Forgot to mention the samurai also badass, so that helps. Airborne Elite. I was reading this card the other day and I had to laugh at the ability The Drop. This makes me laugh because these guys are all transported to Valhalla, which I'm assuming because they all died, even though it was a game marketed towards kids originally, so they're not going to say that. They were just transported there. But they died, let's be real. That's the ancient lore, anyway, of the Nordic mythology. But let's just start with that ability. Airborne Elite do not start the game on the battlefield because they have to drop, like the Airborne. 101st Airborne. At the start of each round, before... Whoop. Got confused. Hold on, I'm losing my bearings here. Might have to cut this part out. Okay. At the start of each round, before you place order markers, roll the 20-sided die. If you roll 13 or higher, you may place all 4 Airborne Elite figures on any empty spaces. You cannot place them adjacent to each other or other figures or on glyphs. Alright, that's a cool concept. It adds to the badassery of the unit. But is it that good? I don't know. They have a range of 8, which is incredible. That puts them at... They're within firing distance of the enemy. No, sorry. They can put themselves at a range where they can shoot the enemy, but be not within range of the enemy's attacks. Because most figures don't have a range of 8. Their attack is 3. They can only move 4 spaces, but I feel like that's a fair thing to sacrifice with their range. Their attack is 3, their defense is 2, and they have grenade special attack. That special attack has a range of 5, lob 12. I'm very confused about how this works because range of 5 is 5 spaces away. But if you have lob 12, if I'm not mistaken, that gives it a range of 12. Unless that means vertical range 12. Somebody should put the details of that in the comments for me because I'm kind of confused about that. But I know that allows you to throw the grenade over objects and stuff, so maybe it's a height range of 12. They have an attack of 2 if they use the grenade special attack. Use this power once per game. Start the game with a grenade marker on this card. Remove the grenade marker to throw grenades. One at a time, do the following with each Airborne Elite. Choose a figure to attack. No clear line of sight is needed. Any figures adjacent to the chosen figure are also affected by the grenade special attack. Roll 2 attack dice once for all affected figures. Each figure rolls defense dice separately. So each Airborne Elite has a grenade that they throw, but they all have to throw it at the same time. That's kind of weird. Very good though with the radius effect of it, the crowd control effect. But I mean, you're only rolling 2 attack dice for each effective figure. It's not super deadly or anything. But if you got a crowd of a bunch of just common squads with 1 life figures, it could be pretty good. They're cool enough, I might put them in B tier. But, yeah, nothing amazing there. But now we have Syvarris, and I know that people on the internet bring him up all the time. And it's probably for his double attack. Whenever he attacks, he can attack an additional time. He has a range of 9, so the Airborne Elite can't be out of the range of this guy. He is much more effective of a range fighter, and he has attack dice 3, but you get 2 attacks. He only has defense 2, but that's a small price to pay when you have a range of 9, and he has 4 life. Also, he's just your classic Legolas type elf. I mean, the hat's kind of stupid. That might take some points off for the cool factor, but I mean, I feel like there's an argument to be made for him to be A tier. Oh, now we've got the deadly Grimnak. This one, I'm telling you right now, is S tier, and it's because of Chomp, really. But we'll get to that in a minute. He has 5 life, move 5, range 1, attack of only 2, which is not good, but wait, and a defense 4. He's only 120 points. All of these figures from this master set are so low in points, they're not going to contribute that much to your point system of your army. Except, I think that a lot of them are worth more points now because of how good they are. But I might be wrong about that. Like I said, I don't know anything about that. But he is S tier in terms of badassness. This is a Lord of the Rings style orc riding a dinosaur. That's too cool. His Chomp special ability is the kicker here. Before attacking, choose 1 medium or small figure adjacent to Grimnak. If the chosen figure is a squad figure, destroy it. Instant kill for squad figures. If the chosen figure is a hero figure, roll the 20-sided die. If you roll a 16 or higher, destroy the chosen hero. But that being said, even though it's hard to pull off on a hero, it's an instant kill for squad figures. So, absolutely an S tier, no doubt about it. Grimnak is in S tier. Moving on, we have the Viking champion. Which one is this? Thorgrim. Pretty badass with the beard, but I know something about that myself. But he's also got these like braided pigtails. I don't know about that. And the gigantic wings on his helmet that are probably made of metal. And how do you keep your head up when you're wearing that? That doesn't seem practical to me. He has 4 life, move 5, range 1, attack 3, defense 4, and he's only 80 points. He has defensive aura 1. This is where these Viking champions are pretty powerful because all friendly figures adjacent to Thorgrim, that's right, they don't have to be Vikings, they just have to be friendly. You add 1 die to their defense if they're adjacent. It's pretty good, but pretty bad for crowd control effects. I mean, they get a defense buff, but you know, still it's pretty good, enough to put him on an army. When Warrior's Armor, Spirit 1 is his other ability, which is when Thorgrim is destroyed, place the figure on any unique army card. Thorgrim's Spirit adds 1 to the defense number on that card. Now that makes him pretty good. Maybe A tier. I think that's A tier. Gotta say. Okay, we got the Zettian guards. 1 life, move 4, range 7, attack 2, and a defense of 7. These things have insane defense. I think cool factor is there because they're Soulborgs, and all Soulborgs are cool. These ones have goofy little faces, but not as goofy as the one we're about to get to. But I always remember seeing these as a kid and thinking, man, these guys are so cool. So their ability is Zettian targeting. When attacking, if your second Zettian guard attacks the same figure as the first, add 1 attack die to the second Zettian guard's attack, bringing the second one to 2 attack. Sorry, 3 attack, my bad. Which, that's pretty cool. They're very good for the defense, but other than that, it's nothing groundbreaking, putting them at B tier. Next, we have Deathwalker. What is this one? Is it 9,000? Yes, it is. Alright, we're going to start with the picture. We got to talk about the badassery here. That is a badass figure. A giant robot. And to add to the badass factor, his name is Deathwalker. Nothing more heavy metal than that, considering he probably is literally made of heavy metal. Only thing that takes points away from the badass factor here is this little tiny frog face thing. I don't know if this is intended to be the robot's face, but come on, you couldn't put something more menacing on him than that. So I don't know about that. I think that's kind of goofy, but let's get into the card. He's got 1 life. This is a unique hero with a life of 1. That's pretty rough. But a small price to pay when you have a defense of 9 and are only going to cost 140 points. Mind-blowing. In this, we have to put this in the context of this master set. 140 points is kind of a lot compared to the rest of the units. If we look, Grimnak, who is probably the most devastating, is 120 points. So the Deathwalker is actually more than Grimnak. By today's standards, not that many points, but enough about that. His explosion special attack has a range of 7. Attack 3. Choose a figure to attack. Any figures adjacent to the chosen figure are also affected by the explosion special attack. Deathwalker only needs a clear sight shot at the chosen figure. Roll 3 attack dice, once for all affected figures. Each figure rolls defense dice separately. Deathwalker can be affected by his own explosion special attack. Another crowd control effect, which is pretty good considering the ranges so far. So definitely gives him some points. And he also has range enhancement, which is any Soulborg guards adjacent to him add 2 spaces to their range. So if you have a big Soulborg army, I mean, you've got to have Deathwalker 9,000 in there. And I think that's an easy A tier, but the argument can be made for it to be B tier. So let's go ahead and put him in A tier. Next we have the Marro Warriors. Alright, these guys are menacing looking, which certainly adds to their badassness. But their guns look a little bit questionable. So, don't know about that. Anyway, though, they only have 1 life each. There's 4 of them on the card. They can move 6 spaces and they have a range of 6, which is not bad. Attack of 2, not very good. Defense of 3. And they have Water Cologne, which is instead of attacking with all the Marro Warriors one at a time, roll the 20-sided die for each Marro Warrior in play. If you roll a 15 or higher, place a previously destroyed Marro Warrior on a same level space adjacent to that Marro Warrior. any Marro warrior on a water space needs a 10 or higher to water clone. You may only water clone after you move. That's pretty good. I mean, especially because you can drop it so drastically to 10 if you stand on water. They're pretty cool character. I would not say they're good. I probably wouldn't pick them, even though they're only worth 50 points, which is actually pretty insane, truly, for a squad card. But, you know, these are Rise of the Valkyrie standards, so everything's low. It's pretty good. I think for thematically, the fact that it's water that allows them to clone, I don't like that. This was obviously before swamp water existed. But if I were to change some rules, I would say it's got to be like, I don't know. I guess you could say it could be any water, which is so that they can work on any battlefield, but it just thematically doesn't feel right. I mean, they don't seem like they would be so reliant on water. I don't know. I'm putting them in C tier. I don't think they're worth the 50 points, if I'm being honest. If that's what they're still worth today, then maybe you could argue that for 4 figures, but I'm sure they're probably worth more. I don't know. But last off, we have Raelin, the Kyrie warrior, the original. 5 life, move 6, range 1, attack 3, defense 3, only 80 points. And she has defensive aura. All figures you control within 4 clear spaces of Raelin add 2 to their defense dice. Raelin's defensive aura does not affect Raelin. Pretty good. Add 2 to their defense dice? That's really good, actually. She also has flying, which we know what that does. I honestly think for the defensive aura, she gets an easy A tier. But I just realized we are missing 1 figure. And hopefully just 1. If I'm missing any more than that, somebody please let me know in the comments. But I do know there's another Viking champion that we need right here. Finn the Viking champion. Let me just go ahead and erase. Oh, my bad. How do I get out of that? Let me go ahead and erase that background real quick. Sorry about that. Okay. Alright, he has a move of 5, life 4, range 1, attack 3, defense 4, and he's 80 points. He has attack aura 1. All figures adjacent to Finn with a range of 1 add 1 die to their normal attack. And he has the warrior's attack spirit, so when he's destroyed, you place the figure on any unique army card. Finn's spirit adds 1 to the normal attack number on that card. It's pretty good, and I know we put the other one in A tier, but I think this one goes to B tier, even though I feel like he looks more badass than the other one. But I feel like the other one is better. I don't know, something about the defensive aura sounds better to me. But none of our guys got put in F tier. And maybe that's just because this is the original set and there's some crazy overpowered stuff going on here. But I feel like someone needs to be in F tier. And I don't know that it's the Viking Warriors. I think it's got to be the Marro Warriors. They're going to F tier. The water clone is just not enough to bring them up. So anyway, there you have it. There's our Rise of the Valkyrie Master Set tier list. S tier is Agent Carr and Grimnak. A tier is Mimring, Sergeant Drake Alexander, Syvarris, Thorgrim Viking Champion. Is that his name? Thorgrim the Viking Champion. Deathwalker 9000 and Raelin the Kyrie Warrior. Then in B tier we have the Krav Maga agents, the Isumi Samurai, Ne-Gok-Sa, Airborne Elite, Zettian Guards, and Finn the Viking Champion. Following that, we have C tier with the, what are they? Oh god, I messed it up. The Tarn Viking Warriors, right? That's what it is. And in F tier, we have the Marro Warriors, just because I felt like somebody had to get an F tier. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like and subscribe for more Heroscape content. And if you like this tier video thing, tier list style, let me know in the comments, and I will definitely continue doing more. If this is popular, I will do expansions. Probably I'll do master sets as their own video, and then I'll do waves as their own video. Is probably how I'll do it, and bigger expansions. We'll see. I'll have to think about it, but let me know, and I'll plan to just get through all of them, all the way up to Age of Annihilation, and yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in.